Sky Sports.
Hello and welcome to the Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Coming up, we have all the goals and the fights from week 2 of the competition. We pay a visit to the new look Newcastle Vipers and spend time with their head coach Danny Stewart. And we look forward to this weekend's action. Well, I'm pleased to say that joining me as ever is Rick Strachan, former Hull Stingrays and GB national team coach, and we're joined by the captain of the Nottingham Panthers, Danny Myers. Good evening to you, Danny, and the perfect start for the Nottingham Panthers. You're playing well right now.
It's been great. I mean, we've got everything out that we wanted from the start of the season. We're very happy so far, but you know, the last couple of seasons we got off to great starts, and at times we've faltered and it hasn't turned into a championship winning year, so hopefully we can continue it for the rest of the season.
I was going to say, same old, is it, from Nottingham? Because you always get out of the gates really quickly. You always jump out to this 10-1, 11-1 start. What makes you think as captain that this Panthers team's different and it can continue through to March?
Well, I mean, we've got some experience on our team regarding the British players this year that can kind of let our younger imports know what this league's all about. It was funny, like during the season, no one's really talking about the Nottingham Panthers, and a lot of people were saying that we'd lost a lot of good players and hadn't really replaced them. There's no doubt that we've lost a lot of experience, but I think we've brought back a lot of hunger into our team, and there's a lot younger team this year, and hopefully it's going to bode well for the rest of the season.
Rick, you've seen more Nottingham Panthers games than most this season. Have they got enough to lift that title? Can this man be the first man to lift that championship trophy since '56?
Yeah, they have. They have enough. They have all the ingredients. They got talent galore. They got guys who can score, guys who can stop the puck. The big question is, can they win the games down the stretch, the greasy road games on the road against teams that they're supposed to beat? And if they can do that, they give themselves a great chance of winning. And
this guy here, of course, you had him as a youngster. He's a shining light of the Nottingham outfit at the moment, and a quality leader for them.
Oh, Danny's is a great defenseman. He's a great leader. He's a great spokesman for the team. You know, if they follow his lead for 54 games, they got a great chance.
Well, the Nottingham Panthers were back in action on Saturday night. Another humdinger at the NIC, another big crowd. And the Cardiff Devils, that team that can't win on the road, were coming into town. Let's see how they got on. Saturday night at the NIC, there's the Panthers in action. And of course the Panthers trying to continue their impressive first weekend. Coach Corey Nelson throws one at the net. Billy Ryan taps home 1-0 against the Cardiff Devils side struggling to win on the road. Well, Saturday night at the NIC is also fight night, and Weapon X, as they call him, Alex Penner's in town. Justin Sawyer is this week's opponent. You'll see two of the league's heavyweights going toe for toe. Last week, of course, it was Hoffman, and Penner was just getting warmed up. He got the Sheriff the night after. Sawyer, though, holding his own, throwing some bombs of his own. Big right hand across the top, but Penner hits back. Afraid to go for the body shot as well, Penner, but he's just throwing everything that comes in his direction. Two tough men doing the toughest job in hockey and getting the fans going. And Sawyer trying to get his Cardiff Devils team going as well. How many times, as Weapon X comes off the ice, have we said that the Devils need to find some form on the road, and they did. Power play opportunity for Jared Adams' team. The puck ends up with Finnerty. He finds Phil Hill, end of the first period. 30 seconds into the second period, though, it was Pele that, on a wraparound, beats Kowalski for 2-1. Phil Hill, who's pressuring him? Nobody, as he rips one to make it 3-1 at the end of the second period. Well, the Nottingham Panthers needed one of their special offensive onslaughts, and when Lee fed Beauregard, that was just the start. That made it 3-2 on the power play. David Clark, deflected shot, finds its way past Stevie Lyle for 3-3. Then a power play. Galbraith feeds Clark, he just rips one. That made it 4-3, and the Nottingham Panthers on the way to 2 points. Or were they? Short-handed, Mark Richardson, Zion the last man back for the Panthers. Richardson shoots past Kowalski. We are tied at 4-4, but it was to be the Panthers. A straight hat-trick for David Clark meant this one finished the Nottingham Panthers 5, the Cardiff Devils 4. Well, another outstanding comeback by the Nottingham Panthers, and when they get that offence rolling, they really do get that offence rolling, don't they? And I'll start with you, Danny. 3-1 down, and things didn't look good, but you do have the ability, don't you, just to click a switch and all of a sudden you've got so many goals from so many players.
Yeah, I think it benefits having David Bogard in your team and David Clark and Jay Galbraith, and when we really need the big guns, they seem to come through, as seen against Belfast when we were down. We were down in Coventry. Obviously down again against Cardiff, and we really didn't have things our way against Cardiff. Ran into a lot of penalty trouble in the first and second period. Obviously 3-1 down. The goals that we conceded were, we felt, pretty soft goals defensively that we shouldn't have allowed in. But there was no panic in our team, which is good for us. I think that bodes well for us for the rest of the season. And David Clark got going, and he was the hero for us.
The Cardiff Devils, though, Rick, they got off to that second period and they jumped ahead of the Nottingham Panthers, and they showed some of that dogmatic spirit that they're going to need, especially on the road. But at the end, it just wasn't to be again.
No, they played a great game for 2 periods. They shut down the Nottingham Panthers. They created a few scoring chances, and they took advantage of them. Then they got into penalties trouble, and they let Nottingham offense get rolling, and then they just couldn't stop them. But then they did a great comeback, a shorthanded goal, make it 4-4, and then David Clark, buried them at the end, and then that was the end of the game.
I don't know about ice hockey show tonight, Danny. It's going to be more a fight night, and a lot of scraps today that we're going to be showing, and that was a pretty good one, wasn't it? Sawyer taking on Alex Penner. He seems quite a character. He enjoys the fight, doesn't he? Yeah,
he does. He's a great character, and I think our fans are really going to like this guy. I mean, I wasn't around when Barry Nykar was around for the Panthers, but I can kind of see the same kind of the thing in Penner, and kind of like a young Andre Payet. He would go around just terrorising people, and but he can play as well. I mean, he's not a knuckle dragger. He's a guy that can play, and he can really benefit our third line. He can finish his hits. He's a good skater, and obviously he's a pretty tough guy as well.
Okay, well, elsewhere, especially up at the Odyssey Arena, the Giants fans were getting ready to welcome home their team, their home opener, and a big one against the Coventry Blaze. Last week, Paul Thompson told us that the season couldn't be won in September, but whenever these two teams get together, it's always a big battle. Saturday night was no different. A big night at the Odyssey Arena, their home opener, new signings like young Mark Garside, trying to get the Belfast Giants going early. It was, in fact, though, the visitors, the Coventry Blaze, with Russell Cowley, who shoots and scores over Stephen Murphy's shoulder. The Blaze led by 1-0. A packed house at the Odyssey Arena in Belfast. Lots of new faces for the Giants fans to get excited about. None more so than Josh Pruden. He gets the puck to the net. Hoffman it is, though, that gets in the paint. He shoots and scores. We are tied at 1-1 at the end of the first period. Giants needed to come out strong in the second session. They did just that. Pruden again involved. Colin Shields. And it was to be Tim Cook, the defenseman who just can't stop scoring right now. He made it 2-1. Third unit out for the Belfast Giants, but they have offence everywhere. Hoffman leads the charge. Who's at the back door? It's Craig Peacock. A 2-0 middle period. Peacock makes it 3-1. Early doors, third period. Cowley gets the puck out to Dan Carlson. Carlson to Owen. Must come off Owen's skate, but Owen makes it 3-2. Game on, folks. Goalie pull, dying seconds of this one, but the Belfast Giants win the draw, and it's Bayrak who picks up on a loose puck, fires into the empty net. Final score, Belfast 4, Coventry 2. Already, though, a 2-0 series lead for the Giants over the Blaze. A big and important win then for Doug Christensen's Belfast Giants. Always important to win your home opener. And Danny, do you see the Belfast Giants as the main contender to the Nottingham Panthers this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody does. They were everyone's favourite at the start of the season. I mean, if you look at that resume, that's pretty impressive. I remember in the summer just clicking on the internet to see who they signed, and I was expecting, I was just stud after stud. And I was like, well, where's the Doug going to come from? It just seems like there's more studs. I mean, what with Dan Welsh, slated as being the 9th forward, I mean, that's some serious depth in that Belfast team, and we've seen them so far here in Nottingham. And that first 10 minutes, it was they were pretty tasty, and they're only going to get stronger, and they're going to be a very, very strong contender this year.
And Rick, they've had a tough opening start as well. That was their first home game, but they've played the big guns. They've taken a point out of Nottingham. They've now taken 4 out of 4 against the Coventry Blaze. They are the real deal.
Oh, they are the real deal. They have depth in defense. They got a solid goaltender. They got forwards who can score. They got toughness. They have the full package, but now can they sustain that for 54 games?
Can Stephen Murphy be the first British goalie to win it? I know he's a GB teammate of yours. I know you don't want him to win it this year, but he's playing in the form of his life. He's continued where he left off last year.
Absolutely. I really rate Murph. I had the chance of playing with Murph when I was in Bracknell, and I actually grew up playing junior internationals with Stephen Murphy, and throughout his career he's been an outstanding goalie. I mean, probably never got the credit that he deserved, and on the back of winning the playoffs last year, I think people started to stand up and take notice of Murph, and if he can continue to being that main man, he holds the key for that Belfast team. He really does, and of all the stars that they've got and all the EIHL experience they got, Murphy is the guy that can win the league, and he's fully capable of doing it.
We talk about the stars, the American League boys, and actually 2 of their big guns haven't got going yet. No goals for Hemingway yet, no goals for Colin Shields. We kind of know that is to come, don't we?
Well, for the Belfast Giants to win a championship, Colin Shields got to produce, and so does Hemingway. And I've watched Hemingway the first game against Nottingham, and I thought he did nothing. I've watched him a little bit, in the other highlights, does nothing. When is the Colin Hemingway going to come to the party?
Well, there was a chance 24 hours later for Hemingway to come to the party, and after the break you will see whether the Coventry Blaze can get revenge on the Belfast Giants. Plus we take a trip up north and we spend time with Danny Stewart and the Newcastle Vipers. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to part 2 of the Elite Ice Hockey League Highlight Show here on Sky Sports. Joining us tonight, of course, as ever, is Rick Strachan, and together with the Nottingham Panthers captain Danny Myers. Before we run forward and take a look at the Coventry Blaze game against the Belfast Giants at the Skydome Arena on Sunday, a little news from around the Elite League. And we'll start off with the Sheffield Steelers. Their import forward Derek Campbell still hasn't arrived in the Steel City. He has visa problems following an incident in Newcastle back in 2007. We understand that former Cardiff Devils forward Mike Perpich is one of several players being spoken to by the Steelers coach Ben Simon. Perpich is presently skating with the Cardiff Devils whilst he finds suitable employment. Talking of the Cardiff Devils, they will have an evaluation on Brad Vought's hand injury before deciding on whether to bring in a temporary replacement import. Coventry Blaze captain Jonathan Weaver is expected to undergo surgery on an injured knee before the end of the month. That will keep him out of action for a minimum of 2 weeks. And finally, the Nottingham Panthers have confirmed that import Jay Henderson will be returning back to North America to fully recover from his neck injury that has kept him out of action so far this season. The Panthers will seek a replacement but haven't ruled out Henderson returning later in the season. And I'll come straight to you on that one, Danny. No Jay Henderson. A little birdie told me yesterday maybe Sean McCaslin returning to the Nottingham Panthers. Any news on that?
Afraid not, my friend. I would love to have Mac back in the team. I spoke with him last night, and unfortunately he's committed to his family. His wife has a good job back home. He has two young sons, so unfortunately Mac won't be joining us this year, but it would have been great if he could have. We
wish him all the very best, and like you say, you might see him back at the NIC sooner rather than later. Well, before the break, we saw the game between the Belfast Giants and the Coventry Blaze at the Odyssey Arena. Well, 24 hours later, they were at the Skydome Arena. It was a must-win game for Paul Thompson's team. Let's see how they got on. A big night for the Coventry Blaze, having lost their opening 2 Elite League fixtures in Nottingham last week and the previous evening at the Odyssey Arena. Important that the defending champions got off to a good start. They had their chances. Power play strike Weaver, good save from Stephen Murphy. Well, last week in our live game we talked about the defence and the offensive capabilities of big Michael Hoffman, the American leaguer. Well, he had some offensive chances early doors to put the Giants out of sight. Misses a simple chance on Jaeger, but then does the good work and causes an error against Greg Owen and starts the ball rolling again. Hoffman, he wants another chance. He gets another chance, a simpler chance this time, but not to be. The Belfast Giants should be out of sight, should be 2 up, but they're not. It's still scoreless here. Chances were to come. I think Hoffman should perhaps play at this end of the ice. That's what Danny Myers has been telling us all week anyway. Byrak, he sets up Pruden, and Pruden shows Hoffman how to finish. Top of the circle, wrist shot that Jaeger doesn't see, and the Belfast Giants are 1 up. Important that the Coventry Blaze hit back. They had their chances as well. Fussy and Dan Carlson, but Stephen Murphy continuing his fine form. It was Carlson again who had that chance. Murphy stood tall. Byrak always involved, but Weaver's shot into the shin pads of Dan Welch and the former Coventry forward. Forehand, backhand. Weaver can't get back in time. 2-0 to Doug Christiansen's Giants team. Well, Paul Thompson's looking for some inspiration. He's not getting it from Chambers and Faldrum. He's not getting it from his leaders like Selsma. But in the young Brits, he's having some response. You can see Cowley and Nell, and it was Nell who inch-perfect pass to Cowley. And the Brits get the Coventry Blaze on the board. Russell Cowley, who's had a great start to the season, making it 2-1. Now, where's Greg Chambers? Answers on a postcard. A set play from the Coventry Blaze. He's hiding in that far corner. Sets a long stretch pass for Fussy, who gets taken down from Mason. And it's a penalty shot. Owen Fussy then against Stephen Murphy. And listen to the ching. Right off the crossbar, Fussy shoots and scores. A 2-0 first period to the Giants, a 2-0 second period to the Blaze. We're tied at 2. Benedict outworks Selsma, takes the shot. Matthias Soderstrom gets the final touch as the Belfast Giants beat the Coventry Blaze at the Skydome Arena 3-2. Well, certainly not the start that head coach Paul Thompson would have wanted for his defending champions, but Doug Christiansen's Belfast Giants, well, they go from strength to strength. And well, we'll talk about the Coventry defence in a moment, but Michael Hoffman, early doors, had a couple of great chances, and you'd expect the big American leaguer to slot home one of these two, Rick.
Oh, 2 glorious chances, 2 wide open nets. Maybe he's not used to playing forward, but you've got to bury one of those. He's had 2. The net was wide open. He got all excited and he just threw it wide.
I don't think either you or I will mention it to him the next time we see him, though, Dan. He's a hell of a hockey player, and he's going to be a big presence for the Belfast Giants. He
is, and looking at those highlights, he seemed to be involved in everything. I was extremely impressed with him when we played against him the first game of the season. We all knew that he was a tough guy, and a legitimate tough guy. Had a great fight with Alex Penna, but he can play, and not only forward but defence as well, and he's going to be a big part of that team.
Perhaps a few problems, though, for the Coventry Blaze. When your best player, Jonathan Weaver, is having an off night, and we see with the deflected shot, things then tend not to go your way.
For the Coventry Blaze to win, their best players got to be their best players, and Jonathan Weaver is their best player. I've never seen Jonathan Weaver hit a guy right in the shin pad to give a breakaway, and it was one of those nights. Jonathan Weaver's having a bad night, so is everyone else. The Coventry Blaze have their backs to the wall, and they give up numerous breakdowns all over the ice to give Belfast the game.
Yeah, they're normally accountable as well, and I'm sure Coach Paul Thompson would have been unhappy with the game-winning goal. You spotted something there with Sean Selsma.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I picked up because with Corey, and I'm sure the same with Tomo. Tomo's the same when we go with GB. Face-offs are absolutely huge, and if you win a face-off, you have that possession. If you lose the face-off, it can take a long time to get that puck. You don't want to be chasing that puck around, and especially just on that third goal there. Unfortunately, Selms seemed to lose his man, and sure enough, the guy goes in and scores. And Selms is a very experienced player, and I'm sure he won't make that mistake again. Okay, well, the Sheffield Steelers were in action as well. They were taking on the Dundee Stars last week. Of course, Dundee got a bit of a rattling from Ben Simon's team. It was going to be no easier at the Sheffield Arena. Game 3 for the Sheffield Steelers, unbeaten at home, and the Dundee Stars were in town. Player coach Ben Simon has got off to the best possible start with his new team. And individually, he was to get off to a great start himself. Simon on the puck, working the play around. Shot from Legui once, shot from Legui twice, and there was Simon at the back door. 1-0 Sheffield Steelers. Watch out for this line, the line of Hewitt, Tate and Dowd. Great finish there by Robert Dowd. Forehand, backhand, top shelf. Steelers led 2-0. By his own admission, Jonathan Phillips didn't have the season he would have wanted last year, but he's certainly come out of the gates flying this season. It was the Steelers captain that was to score the Steelers' third goal with an absolute bullet. End of the first period, it was to be 3-0, but not before. We'd had a little bit of fisticuffs. Steve Munn getting involved with Mark Nubus in the corner. Munn steps in, Nubus comes back.
It gets a little bit frosty, and then here we go. Already this season we've seen probably more fights than we have in the previous couple all put together. It's not just the Sheriff and Weapon X that can throw them. Needless and Munn doing a pretty good job of their own. Needless's cut. They both ended up in the penalty box. And back into the action. Power play strike for the Sheffield Steelers. Simon, one-on-one, forehand, backhand, forehand, shoots and scores. 4-0. I told you about that line of Tate and Dowd and Hewitt. Have a look at this. Touch of brilliance from the boy from Billingham, Robert Dowd. Not once, not twice. And he feeds Jason Hewitt, who shoots and scores for 5-0. Backup goalie McGill in as the 6th one rattled past him, Kevin Bollebrook. And it was Jeff Legui that was to wrap up the scoring. A power play goal for the Sheffield Steelers. And they are looking impressive. Keep your eye on Legui at the back door. He shoots and scores for a final score of the Sheffield Steelers 7, the Dundee Stars 0. Well, another good performance and another good win for Ben Simon and his Sheffield Steelers. On the flip side of that, headaches for the Dundee Stars and their head coach, Dan Seaman. It's been a tough opening campaign, hasn't it, for the Dundee Stars? You've got to have a good goalie, though, if you've got a poor team, and they haven't got one, have they?
No, they don't. The goalie's just not good enough to play in this league. He gives up way too many rebounds, soft goals. He just ain't getting the job done. So the best thing for the Dundee Stars right now is to go out there and find a good goalie. Finding good goalies is quite easy. There's lots of goalies on the market right now. For them to be successful, you got to start with a goalie who's going to give you a chance to win every night. And the guy they got right now gives them no chance.
Word has it, as we're going on air tonight, that the Dundee Stars are bringing another East Coast League defenceman. They're trying to solidify that blue line, if you like. So at least the ownership there is giving Dan Seaman, you know, a little bit of money there to try and experiment and to try and bring some new players in.
Oh, great. Bring in some more defensemen, limit the shots, but the goalie just lets in the first shot. So, you know, you can spend all the money, invest all the money in the world to bring an NHL defenseman. If they shoot the puck from the half wall and it goes in, it don't matter. You got to have a goalie who can stop the puck, and he can't stop it.
One team that can score is the Sheffield Steelers. They've got a lot of offence, haven't they? And they've started the season very well. Yeah,
you can tell they're pretty smart from last year. It was obviously a particularly disappointing season in Sheffield last year, and they're going. They really are. And if the scary thing is that the Legui, Talbot, Ashley Tate line possibly isn't their best line now. What with Simon, Glockley and Clark, I mean, that's some serious depth and
some serious size as well. The Sheffield Steelers haven't been very big over the last few years,
and it's the last 2-3 seasons they've mostly had forwards under 6 foot, and so it's going to bring them a different feel to their team this year. And they're obviously. It's a big year for Ben Simon and a big year for the Sheffield Steelers. And a lot of those guys that have returned from that team last year have a lot to prove. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of guys on that team, and they weren't happy about their performance last year. And I know they're looking forward to this season. Tate coming back, very important. Phillips getting a new lease of life, very important. But to me, the intensity and the heartbeat is somebody like a Robert Dowd, and he really has hit the ice at full steam, hasn't he?
Robert Dowd's been outstanding last year. He didn't score the goals. He worked hard, he created, but the puck just wouldn't go in the net. He's working hard. You see some of the highlights. His hands are magic again. He's scoring goals. And you got Robert Dowd on your third line. He's going to score 25, 30 goals. You're looking pretty good. Time for a break now, but when we come back, the Nottingham Panthers travel up to Dundee to take on the Stars. We also have time to catch up with Danny Stewart, head coach of the Newcastle Vipers, and a look ahead to this weekend's coming fixtures. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to the Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Still joined by Rick Strachan and the captain of the Nottingham Panthers, Danny Myers. Let's take you up to Dundee, where the Stars were hosting the Nottingham Panthers. This was a game we were all looking forward to. A big game for the Dundee Stars, a big fight expected. We were all expecting that. What we weren't expecting was 5 assists from Danny Myers.
Well, Dundee versus Nottingham, forget it. This one was billed as the Sheriff versus Weapon X. It doesn't get better than this, doesn't get tougher than this. This is an NHL fight from two of the toughest men in the league. Just savour it, watch and enjoy. This is McMorrow, the reigning Elite League champ, against Penner, the young pup, who gets a pat on the head for an outstanding job. Both think they've won it. The Sheriff tries to get his fans going. Weapon X does the same. Nottingham Panthers then got back into goal-scoring form, and it was Jonathan Zion who scored the opening goal of the night to make it 1-0. Corey Nielsen used his whole bench up in Dundee. Tom Norton scored his very first ever professional goal to make it 2-0. Congratulations to him. A man who scored hundreds of professional goals is Jade Galbraith. He made it 3. Galbraith scored hundreds. David Beauregard scored thousands of them. Him and Jonathan Zion couldn't work out who was going to score, but it was Beauregard for 4-0, end of the first period. Norton scored his first. Norton scored his second professional goal, 5-0. Jade Galbraith gave the Dundee Stars an opportunity to get on the scoreboard. They did just that with Cartwright fielding Nebus. Nebus walks in all alone and he made it 5-1. Second was shortly to come. Can I punch your ticket once, Mr. Nielsen? Twice? Taxi for Nielsen, as the Dundee Stars made it 5-2. Peter Cartwright. Dan Seaman, the player coach for the Stars, cut through the middle over the blue line and rips one past Kowalski. 5-3. Dundee thought they were back in this game. None of it. Corey Nielsen's men then quickly came back on the scoreboard. Lakovic finds Ryan for 6. David Beauregard close range for 7. And the Panthers were home and hosed. Nice play coming up here from Dustin Sprout. Nice backhand pass. David Clark shoots and scores. 8-3. Late power play for the Nottingham Panthers. Corey Nielsen, patience, top shelf, 9-3. It was to be, though, the Dundee Stars who scored the final goal of the night. Ryan's pass to Lee was intercepted. Cartwright and Nebus again head towards the net, and Nebus gets his second. Final score, Dundee 4, Nottingham Panthers 9. Well, another tough night for the Dundee Stars against a powerhouse, offensively packed Nottingham Panthers team. And Rick, your mate, the Dundee Stars goalie, didn't have another good night, did he?
Terrible night. They have no confidence in them. It's just the third straight game they pulled them, and this time they pulled them middle of the first period. So obviously the Dundee Stars aren't comfortable with the goalie they have right now.
There's reinforcements to come, though, Danny. What did you make of the Stars team? They showed some character and some grit, didn't they? They came back against you.
They did, and obviously going into that game they hadn't scored a goal yet, and what with us winning the first period 4-0, and they still hadn't scored. But once they got that first goal, they really seemed to kick on from there, and they ended up winning that second period 3-1. So that's some confidence they can take away from the game. You know, obviously, unfortunately for them and favourably for us, that we were able to control the third period. But there were signs there of a team, and I'm sure Dan Seaman right now is trying to look for positives at the moment, and he can take positives out of that second period. Did
it disappoint you that you conceded those goals?
Yes, it did. It really did. It's whether it be Dundee or Belfast or Coventry, whoever it is, I never like to see our team concede a goal. So all 4 goals were bitterly disappointing for our team.
Cartwright and Nebus got in the act. I've got to ask you two boys about this one super, this wonder goal. I said we punched the ticket and we called the taxi. Did the boys rib the player coach of the Nottingham Panthers after this one, Danny?
It was obviously a very nice goal. It was a nice move. There was a bit of an awkward silence when we got back to the.
The players have got to rip the coach, haven't they? After it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? Nobody's getting at the coach, but I'm sure all the players on teams you've played for have had a good bit of banter.
If it was a game-winning goal and you lost, silence. You just spanked Dundee 9-4. Every defenseman who's played hockey has been beat like that once in his career. Laugh it up, have some fun. It's the coach. Make fun of the coach. This is the day you get to do it. You might as well make fun of him.
One other defenseman on the Panthers team. Quick mention for Tom Norton. Excellent, isn't it, for the youngster? He gets a lot of ice time and he scored his first 2 goals.
It was great. It was really great. He's such a great kid, and it's a rarity to see a British defenseman in the Elite League. So it was great for Tom to get his first goal, and of course the next period he got his second goal. And worked out well for me because I was able to get a couple of assists on the course.
I was just going to say 5 assists for you, you little Paul Coffey in the making you.
Yeah, it was kind of weird really, wasn't it? Me getting 5 assists and Corey getting toasted. Usually it's the other way around. So yeah, it was funny. Obviously the guys gave me a bit of stick when we got back. I had to buy all the beers and stuff, and you know, it was nice to have that little moment in the sunshine, but I'm quite happy to go back under the radar and let my my teammates take the deserved attention.
Well, another big weekend then for the Nottingham Panthers. Congratulations to them. A big weekend as well for the Newcastle Vipers. As you know, the Elite League has a bit of a staggered start, and this weekend sees the opening game for the Newcastle club. New head coach Danny Stewart invited our cameras up to Whitley Bay. They'll take on the Sheffield Steelers this coming Sunday. Here's what he has to say. The Newcastle Vipers have always been an up-and-down team whilst we've covered the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky. Always entertaining, never consistent. This summer it was all change in the organisation, a new home, a new coach and a new team.
Yeah, it's been a lot happening obviously. We've got a new owner in place in Paddy O'Connor who's come back to the club after being away for a few years, and we've obviously got a new player coach in Danny Stewart, and obviously a brand new team as well.
Paul Thompson contacted me and towards the end of last season let me know that Newcastle Vipers were interested in finding a new player coach, and he had talked to Rob Wilson a little bit, and within a week Rob had contacted me, and the process kind of began, and obviously came up to visit Newcastle after the season and Whitley Bay of course, and checked out the place and went through the interview process, and here we are.
It's always a tough job being a player coach, but Danny Stewart is made of strong stuff, and he has had to build a new Vipers side from scratch.
It was difficult in a sense, but I kind of made it difficult on myself by you know, choosing to bring in a whole new fresh team. So whereas, you know, teams every year bring back a core of players and kind of have to fill the rest of the places, but no, it was good, and it was you know, finding guys was, you know, just hitting up your resources. I didn't want to limit myself into one particular style of play or one country of origin or anything like that. I opened up all resources, and I'm happy with the way things went. I don't like to single guys out over the other guys. It's still early, but I think a team as a whole will play with a lot of energy and a lot of, you know, physical aspect to our game, and especially here at home, we'll come after teams.
One familiar face is Paul Sample, back after a year away, and Vipers captain.
Obviously it's my hometown team, you know, my friends and family all live here. I've had a year out last year, so to come back and be named captain is a big honour. You know, I played a long time. I moved away from home when I was 14. I moved around quite a lot. I started a business. You know, my daughter was due at the end of my last season, and just wanted to spend some time at home with my family. It's just it was a nice break, to be honest. But you know, soon after retiring, I was itching to get back into it.
Whitley Bay is certainly a different venue than the Metro Arena, Vipers' previous home, and the Vipers are hoping it will make the perfect base to become a successful team both on and off the ice.
I think now we've got a home, you know, we're at one venue, and so we're settled here. There's been a lot of upgrades in terms of the changing room for the players, the corporate lounge, some other facilities for fans and stuff. So this is home now, and now we'll put all our efforts into getting as many fans through the door as possible, and hopefully getting this place rocking for home games. It's a really loud venue. It's certainly a venue that, you know, opposing teams won't enjoy coming to visit, and you know, we've got to make sure that that's the case with fans getting behind the club and so forth.
It's definitely a character building. They've been great at accommodating us, and no, I think just with coming in, team, like I said, we'll play with that energy where we'll be coming at teams all the time, and we got some great skaters on our team, guys that like to play physical. So you combine those two aspects, it's you don't give guys a lot of time and space coming into their strengths, so it'll be a tough place to play.
They want to entertain, but for the Vipers, it's about being competitive and beating the teams around them.
I personally think we're going to surprise a lot of people. I think, you know, people aren't giving us a lot of credit. He has signed a lot of unknown players, but I think that definitely, like I said before, is going to work to our advantage. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people and upset quite a few teams this year.
As for standings, a position in the league, I think we just want to finish as high as possible. It's I think what I've tried to instill in the guys is just to show up every night, play 60 minutes, and don't take nights off. And I think if you can do that over the course of the season and hopefully stay healthy, I think we'll compete every night.
So the Newcastle Vipers set off on their campaign at the Whitley Bay rink on Sunday against the Sheffield Steelers. I'd urge you to pay a visit up there. Danny Stewart taking on his new job, but he's an intense character, And I would imagine the Newcastle Vipers all play an intense style in that small, vociferous building up at Whitley Bay.
Yeah, Danny Stewart's give you everything he's got every night type of guy. Hopefully that will relay it out to his players. His players will take on his character, and they will have an extremely hard team to play against.
We talk about accountability, don't we? Every week on here, when we all get together, coaches, players, you've got to be accountable. I see Danny Stewart as a man who will make his players accountable.
Oh, look, he's an accountable guy. That's how he plays. He plays at both ends of the rink, and he will tell his players, follow me, play like me, be accountable, and we'll be all right.
Danny, you're going to get on the bus, you're going to go up to Whitley Bay, you know what to face up there. The away players are just going to be shaking their heads. Some of your new players are going to get off the bus and wonder what's hit them, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, we played a couple of games there last year, and it's certainly a shock to a lot of the new players. But I think everyone kind of envisioned Newcastle, what them playing the whole season in Whitley Bay, having a seriously tough team, much like the London Raiders and so. But Danny, I've noticed he's got some quite a few gems in there. I've noticed that he's gone down the university route. Picked a lot of players that have come out of the university, and a lot like our team, they are very hungry and they want to prove something. And they're at the start of their career, and obviously want to use the elite league as a stepping board, possibly to go into Europe and higher.
Folks, I think the Newcastle Vipers could be one of the most entertaining teams in the Elite League this year, and I'd urge you to pay a visit to the Whitley Bay Ice Rink. I just think that team in that building, it could be, well, it could be carnage. So please go along on Sunday for their home opener against the Sheffield Steelers. Our final goals, our final action from the weekend saw Challenge Cup action between the Cardiff Devils and the Sheffield Steelers. Early in this one, the former Sheffield Steelers forward Ryan Finnerty got to grips with Kevin Bollebrook. I don't know what set those two off, Rick.
Well, obviously something's carried over from last year, and Finnerty and Bollebrook have a distaste for each other.
He's a feisty little ring rat, isn't he, Danny Finnerty?
He's a winner, he really is, and every team would like a Ryan Finnerty on their team. And I think with the Devils going 0-3 into this game, he wanted to spark them, and that's what I think we're about to see. He certainly did.
Well, yes, he went from fighter to goal scorer. He is one of my favourites, and a lovely finish from Finnerty, Rick.
Oh, just quick release right there. Quick, right on the stick. He didn't take any time. And in that rink, you got to shoot the puck quick.
And Danny, Rick was telling us earlier, he's very impressed with this Pele that's signed for Cardiff.
Yeah, he had a big goal against us the night before, and he really grew into the game as the game went on. He was with that line. That's a very strong line for the Devils, and if they're going to have any success this year, they're really going to have to be clicking.
Well, Phil Hill made it 3-0 before the Devils then went to 4-0, and again, Rick, it was that man Pele.
Yeah, he's small. He's quick to the hole, and right here, watch this. That's just a great shot up top. I'm sure the goalie wish he would have that one back. Well,
a game of two halves, 4-0 for the Cardiff Devils, but Ben Simon put the Sheffield Steelers back on the road, Dan.
Yeah, that was a sweet play by Simon there. I think he got a stick in the face as well, so paying the price to get his team back in it.
And the old school, Jeff Legui gets in on the act there. New signing, Neil Clark, was to get the Sheffield Steelers' third goal.
Just a great play. Somebody undressed Gerald Adams at a bad weekend for player coaches, and then threw it right out to Clark for the wide open net.
Not many people enjoy going into Cardiff. Some find it very uncomfortable. One of those players that does love it is Joe Talbot again, shooting past Stevie Lyle. He made it 4-4. Steelers back in this one, but just before the end of the game, the Devils were to get the winner with Big Sawyer, Rick.
Just important. We talk about face-offs every weekend. Win to draw clean. Sawyer gets the puck. He throws it on net. Traffic. Game winner.
A big win for the Big G as the Cardiff Devils opened up their Challenge Cup campaign. We head off to the break now. When we come back, we look ahead to the next week of Elite League Ice Hockey action, and Rick and I will do our predictions. Welcome back to the Elite Ice Hockey League Highlight Show here on Sky Sports. We look ahead to the fixtures for this coming weekend, and Rick and I will do our predictions. Joining Rick and myself is Danny Myers, captain of the Nottingham Panthers, and we've touched on it already, Danny, but a huge year for Nottingham. That championship, it's so elusive, and you could make yourself a place in Panthers history by being the captain that lifts that trophy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a huge sense of disappointment last year. We really felt like the league was there for our taking last year, and in one way or another, we shot ourselves in the foot. I really felt like that we lost that title last year, and we got off to a great start, and we had a poor October and November, and then we came strong again. But unfortunately, we were always playing catch up. It's been a number of years since the Panthers won, as you often refer to. So it would be massive for the city for us to win the league.
Talking of referring, Rick, Danny's referred to us a couple of times that actually the Panthers have been successful. They've lifted some trophies in the last 3 or 4 years, the Challenge Cup and the playoffs. They will be considered, though, perennial underachievers if they don't lift the league crown sometime soon, won't they?
Definitely. It's Nottingham Panthers is the biggest club in ice hockey, and if they do not lift win the title, it's a failure. It's no different than Manchester, Chelsea not winning the title. The Nottingham Panthers have that pressure on them. The fans, the organization, they're due to win, and they've had teams in the past who should have won it and they haven't. So they got to do something different this year to win it. You've
got a lot of new players in your team. They're predominantly North American. They're a playoff race, if you like, for the Canadians. We're a league championship race. We perhaps our football upbringing. Do you have to drag them into a corner and explain to them, listen, right the way from game one, this is the most important thing, not the playoffs at the end of the year, this league championship?
Be rest assured, as soon as they walked through that door, we had a meeting and I explained what was demanded from this organisation. Demanded. The league championship is everything. We have had some success lately, and it's been great. But let's not beat around the bush. I mean, we have to win this league. There's no doubt about it. I have to win this league. For me, I base my career on whether I win this league or not. If I don't, then I will see it as a failure, and if I do, then I will see my career as a success. And everyone from Neil Black putting the money into the club, to the great job that Gary Moran does, to the way that Corey Nielsen has built our team up. It's extremely professional off the ice, the way that Corey does things. Right through our dressing room, Adam Goodridge, our equipment guy, is a massive part of our team, what he does. We have all the tools to succeed, and it's down to the players to put it into practice.
Because you are the standard bearers now. It's generally recognised, Rick, that the Nottingham Panthers are the #1 organisation, the #1 club, well run, fantastic support, the best building, fancy new scoreboard. Therefore, it's the only thing that's missing, isn't it?
Definitely, they got the best.
But the most important thing that's missing?
The most important missing is the championship. They got the nicest rink, the most fans. Now what they need to do is give them a trophy at the end of the year that says we were the best throw for 54 games.
OK, well, one thing I can assure you of, folks, is that on Saturday at 7 o'clock at the NIC, you're in for a treat, because the Coventry Blaze are coming into town to take on the Nottingham Panthers. Take a look at that fixture and all the others for the forthcoming weekend. 7 o'clock, as I say, as Corey Nielsen's Panthers take on Paul Thompson's Coventry Blaze. No love lost between those two individuals. Just down the M1, we'll see the Sheffield Steelers take on the Newcastle Vipers at the Sheffield Arena. Then the next two games are both Elite League and Challenge Cup. Belfast Giants against Edinburgh Capitals in their opening game of the season. And the first local derby in Scotland for many a time. The Dundee Stars taking on the Braehead Clan. We'll flip forward 24 hours, where Cardiff will take on Belfast at 6 o'clock. I think that will be an absolute barnstormer there. Newcastle Vipers at the Whitley Bay Ice Rink against the Sheffield Steelers. I urge all you Newcastle fans to get out. There's a hell of a lot of animosity between Newcastle and Whitley Bay. If you're a Newcastle Vipers fan, put it behind you. Forget the dim and distant days between Whitley and Durham and get down to the Whitley Bay Ice Rink. That will be a great atmosphere in that small building. Then Challenge Cup action between the Coventry Blaze and the Nottingham Panthers at 6 o'clock. And another local derby, just like the 28 bus. You don't see one for 16 years and then two come along at once. The Capitals take on the Dundee Stars. And then next Wednesday, the Sheffield Steelers taking on the Cardiff Devils. That's Challenge Cup action as well, and that game is being played at Ice Sheffield. Now, as you're aware, Rick and I started last week with our predictions. And for some very strange, crazy reason, Rick got all of his right, and I happened to get two of mine wrong. Let's just see where I went wrong. Yes, the Sheffield Steelers let me down in Cardiff, and the Coventry Blaze let me down against the Belfast Giants. Well, let's take a look at what our predictions are for this coming weekend, and Rick and I pretty much agree on most of them. A couple that we don't agree on, Rick. Cardiff versus Belfast. That's a Sunday game. I take Cardiff to beat Belfast, but you think the Giants will overcome Gerrard's team?
Yeah, for one simple reason. The Cardiff Devils don't play on Saturday night, and teams who are used to playing back-to-back games, Belfast will have a game on Saturday. They'll be all warmed up, and they're going to come out of the box quick on Sunday, and for whatever reason, teams who don't play on Saturday start out slowly on Sunday.
Another one we disagree on, and my best mate's going to shoot me. I'm taking the Nottingham Panthers. The Nottingham Panthers to go into Coventry and win on Sunday, but you think the Blaze?
It ain't going to happen. Well, because Coventry's going to lose on Nottingham on Saturday night, and they're going to be 0-4. And Paul Thompson will read the riot act, threaten every guy in the team with their job, and they will come out flying and hang on for a win.
Okay, and then the third, if you like, of the local derbies, Edinburgh versus Dundee. You're going for the Edinburgh Stars. I can't believe Dundee can be that bad that often. I'm going to take Dundee to pick up their first Elite League win.
Edinburgh, home opener. The boys will be pumped. They'll come out flying. They might not win many this year, but they'll win that one.
Do you disagree or agree with most of those, Danny?
I'd like to sit on the fence, to be honest with you. I'll let you guys do the predictions. You do such a great job.
You can't believe Strax was right taking Coventry to beat Nottingham, can you?
Well, you know, I kind of disagree about that, but I do agree with Strack that whenever the Coventry players have their back against the wall, they always come out fighting. And I think for many people, they probably think, what with Weaves being hurt and the confidence being down, that this is a great time to play the Coventry Blaze. I couldn't disagree more. It's this is the worst time to play the Coventry Blaze, and I feel that our team are certainly more than capable of beating the Blaze, by expecting them to put in the two best displays.
Just to quickly finish off, great to see local derbies in Scotland. Big games between Scottish teams. The Capitals have got some opposition at last.
At last, they got Braehead, they got Dundee. It's great for ice hockey in this country. It's great for Scotland. It's great to have those local derbies. The owners will be happy. More people coming into the buildings. Great atmospheres. That's what we need. That's what we're missing.
Plenty of ice hockey for you to look out for this weekend. Come on, Dan Seaman, get your first win for the Dundee Stars, and good luck to Danny Stewart and his Newcastle Vipers. We'll be back next week with all the goals, all the action, and a load more fights. We'll see you then.